He cut me off.
When?
You like couldn't even. You cut these out too?
As they're on their way to make their way up, I just wanted to take this moment on behalf of the team to thank several people. First of all, I'd like to thank all the parents that were so supportive throughout the year. Concession stands, whatever it took, hosting us for pregame meals. Once again, without the parents, none of our success would have been possible. And in particular, I wanted to thank parents like the Savas for their work in the concession stand, the Hartmans for their work with the greeting people and the signs and everything they did. Nobles, especially Cliff for his help with the PA system. The Chockleys and the Finleys for their help in the state tournament. And special thanks to the Stephensons for a lot of times at the last minute hosting us, particularly during the state tournament week and state tournament days. Having us over for a dinner or a meal at the last minute, we appreciate that very much. And to the Birds, Jimbo and Martha for them being our representatives on the Booster Club and for everything they did. There's nothing like a feeling a coach has being able to call. I called Martha a lot at the last minute and said, we need this, we need that, this would be a good idea. And she took care of it with no problem, so I appreciate all their help. And special thanks to the Russells, to Ellen for all that she did, and especially George Russell, who basically does everything for our program. And I can't tell you all how much I appreciate his help, whether it be announcing at the games or just he basically makes sure everything runs smoothly at the games, and to know that's taken care of is a big relief for myself. And again, without him, I don't think any of our success would have been possible. And finally, I'd like to thank my brother for the best year yet for the B team. And I think the B team and the future of our program is in good hands when I know and can trust someone like my brother and his abilities as a coach. About our season, we had a very successful season. Some of our highlights were we won the Beaufort, South Carolina, our annual trek to that tournament. We won that for the first year ever, and we've been going there for about 6 or 7 years. And we won all 3 games, took that title, and including in that we beat the last year's South Carolina Independent School State Champion and their runners-up. We were the GSA Region 1 champions for the 2nd consecutive year. We finished our season with 18 wins and 1 loss, which is the most wins in school history. We had 91 goals, 47 assists, and 229 points, all of which are second best in the school record books. We had 9 shutouts, which is also second best in the school record books. We only allowed 15 goals, which is a new school record. We set the record for most consecutive wins and most consecutive matches without a loss of 11 to start the season. We outscored our opposition 91 goals to 15, and beat Heritage 9-0, beat Tackle 5-2, beat Mountain Sales 2-1 in the state tournament, and for the 3rd time in 6 years, we were state champions. So it was a very successful season for us. And 3 times since the first starting in the 90s, I think these guys have established themselves kind of as the team of the 90s. And so that was a little bit about our season. And before I go any further, I do want to make one announcement. We will have a celebration dinner that the Booster Club, I believe, is sponsoring. It will be Wednesday, the 15th at 6:30. And there are some flyers in the lobby, and the Birds are up there, and they do need an RSVP, and I believe it is also $8 per person for that, but they do need y'all to sign up tonight if you can, and please get a flyer, and that'll be Wednesday the 15th at 6:30. It's open to all B team players, cheerleaders, varsity players, and all parents too, and we want to have as many people out there as we can. This time I'd like to introduce the players to you, and players, if you would, please just step around front and stay standing in front and receive your various plaques and t-shirts and awards from my brother. Start with our senior class. Sterling Stephenson is our co-captain. Ahmed Kabani. Our forward was injured most of the year with a back injury, and only played for 2 years, and had he played for longer, it would have been an exceptional player. Offers a lot of speed. Andrew Hartman was a midfield for us, played in the midfield for us. Jeremy McClure played in the midfield, played sweeper, sometimes played forward for us. Butler Caldwell, who was injured through most of the season, but was able to come back and scored one of our best penalty kicks we've ever taken towards the end of the season. Lindsey Leonard was a defender. James Berg was also injured for the majority of the season. He was able to get in one game, and he has a lot of spirit that he's offered to the team throughout his career, and in particular, he helped calm me through while I was on the bench. He was able to take me to the side and calm me down during games, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that from James. Todd Pike, he came in as a new student and was a late starter. Didn't start until the second Mount Sales game where we put him in, and he took over from there. Won every ball that came his way, hung on to a starting position the rest of the way. Ian Jones, our other co-captain. Adam Bell played the all-important defensive midfield role for us. He's very versatile, and he moved him around a lot throughout his career, from forward to defender to defensive midfielder, and he never complained once. And he's an extremely hard worker and always positive, and a player that we'll certainly miss. These are the seniors, and I wanted to y'all come out here just a little bit more. Y'all slide this way just a little bit so you can see. There we go. This is the largest group of seniors I've had, and I just wanted to say a little bit about them. It's a very special group to me, and I think I thought back about what we've been through together. Some of them I only had for a year. Some of them have left and come back, and some of them I've had ever since they were in 8th grade. And I think back to when they were some of these players that were in 8th grade when I started were on the first B team we ever had, and I think back to how we went undefeated in the Georgia High School Association Middle School, which we had to compete in due to lack of competition. And I think back to our 1-0 loss to a school called J.T. Walker from Atlanta in those middle school playoffs. And I think back to 5 of these players were freshmen on the varsity team that won the state championship in 1992. But since 9th grade, all of these players have contributed to this program in a great many ways. And since 9th grade, they've compiled an overall record of 58 wins, 16 losses, and 3 draws, and they've had 2 state titles. And when I think of each of these players, these are the things that kind of just popped to my mind as I thought about them. When I thought of Andrew Hartman, I thought of just a magician with the ball. When I thought of Butler Caldwell, I thought a very quiet, calm, and nice guy. When I thought of Ahmed, I thought of his speed. When I thought of Todd Pike, I thought of his athleticism and one player that came out of nowhere to start the rest of the season. I've never had a player do that before. When I think of Jeremy, I think of his spirit and his love for the game. When I think of Ian, all I think about is spirit and emotion. When I think of Sterla, I think of coolness and calmness. When I think of Adam Bell, I think of hard work and versatility. And when I think of James Berg, I thought of emotion and humor. When I think of Lindsey Leonard, the first thing that came to my mind was how much he aggravated the seniors when he was a freshman. But those are the things that came to my mind when I thought of these players. I just wanted y'all to give them a big hand, please. Now, continue with the juniors if y'all would continue to come around. Justin Brown played forward for us and had to come in and play a center midfield, all-important center midfield role in the state championship game, and he did extremely well. That was one of the keys for us winning that game. Had 10 goals, 4 assists, was our 5th leading scorer. Seth Sabbath played defender for us, started a few games, and as always, continues to have a great work ethic. Adam Galbraith started most every game, improved on his skills tremendously, started in the back, played some outside midfield, and had to mark one of the Mount Sales better players in the final and pretty much shut him down the whole game. Darren Mobley was a starter for us, I think every game. played also a very versatile player, played as a back, played as an outside midfielder, and wound up forward. Extremely fast, and also played very well in the state championship game. Nick Hathaway, an outstanding, one of our better sweepers we've ever had, and that's quite a thing to say, considering the sweepers we've had. He was one, in my opinion, he was the best sweeper in the state, and although he didn't get mentioned in all region and all state, I think he was certainly deserving of those awards, and he was one of our biggest reasons why we only gave up 15 goals this year, which again was a school record. Our sophomore is Jeff Russell, was a starter at outside midfield for us, had run up with 10 assists, which is the second best assist total of all time, and he also had four goals, and will probably look to go into the center of the midfield next year. Sheldon McClendon played keeper for us and also played in the field some, and when he got in the field, chances are he was going to get himself a nutmeg. A very skilled player. In our freshman class, a very talented group of freshmen. Start with Bill Arnold. Played in the back, played in the midfield, and a very smart player, and came on very well at the end of the season. Calvin Hayes played in the midfield and contributes great skill with either foot. Wes Nobles played outside midfielder and also played up front some, scored the game-winning goal in the B-team tournament against Frederica. Excellent speed. Stephen Anderson also played in the B-team championship game and played in goal and came up big, made some big saves towards the end of that game, and it was a tremendous work ethic, and in some practices outdid all the other keepers. Austin Bryant, for a freshman, this player did exceptionally well. He had 12 goals, which, although we don't keep that record, I'm quite sure is a freshman record for goals scored by a freshman. Started some games, and he even knocked in 2 goals in our counting game against Mountain Sales, which we won 5-2. Matthew Israel, it's great skill, a great nose for the goal, and expecting big things from him in the future as a forward. Bert Maxwell, extremely hard worker, played in the back. Could also play in the midfield, and he scored 2 goals for the B team against Mountain Sales in a big game for the B team. Hawkins Baum, just a tireless worker whose future is definitely in the midfield, definitely in the center midfielder. And as much as he got knocked around, he got right back up and picked himself up and continued to play. Did an excellent job all year for us. And we had an exceptional group of managers, I think 3 of which are seniors. And all season long and throughout the years, they've done an outstanding job. And we're definitely going to miss the seniors, and we hope the 2 juniors will come back and be managers for us again. But it's not an easy job, and it's a very underappreciated job. And they can tell you the worst thing about it is putting up with me and how perfect I have to have things. And they do an outstanding job. And I just wanted them to know how much myself and the players do appreciate them. And if they would come forward, please. Stacy Elledge, Elizabeth Logan, final senior Betty Sweet Ladson. Our juniors Dorothy Eubanks and Jackie Jones. And our statisticians this year, we had 2 of them, and I don't know how we're going to replace, and I hope I can talk to Mary Ellen into doing it next year as Ashley leaves. Ashley's a senior, but Ashley's done it for about 2 or 3 years, and it's a very difficult thing to do, and she does it perfectly. And she, it takes a while to learn how to do it, and she did it, and it's going to be very hard to replace her. And I appreciate all of her work over the years, and Mary Ellen Bush was kind of learning this year and helped out as well. So our 2 statisticians were Ashley Davis and Mary Ellen Bush. And we had 2 cameramen that I don't think are here, but Stuart Vernon and Amit Patel both helped out filming games for us this year. And I also wanted to, we had 4 players recognized for the All-Region team: Andrew Hartman, Sterling Stephenson, y'all need to come forward to stay there, Sterling Stephenson, Ian Jones, and Jeremy McClure. And Sterling and Jeremy were also recognized as All-State players. So give those players a hand, please. I have 4 awards to present, and the first one is the Coaches Award, and this goes to one of the most skilled players we've ever had here at Stratford. And that speaks a lot because we've had a lot of very skilled players. For the season, he had 10 goals, 9 assists, which was not his 9 assists was the third best ever for a season. He had 29 points, and all that was third best on the team. For his career, he had 34 goals, which is the third best goal total ever, 14 assists, and he had 82 points for his career, which is also the third best total ever. And he came to us in 10th grade, so he didn't even have the benefit of having more statistics in his 9th grade. And this year, all of that didn't matter to him. And this is the reason he's getting the Coach's Award. And we talked a little bit about it, but the only thing that mattered to this player was winning the state championship. And that's why he's getting this award. And how we were able to get that state championship, this player was a big part of it because he worked all the time on his skills. He worked in training, and he worked during the off season. He worked after practice, and that kind of work ethic is, I hope, is what this team is all about. He won balls in the air this year. He won balls on the ground. He was slide tackling. He was a quick specialist. Could bend balls around the wall. He could set other players up. That's why he had 9 assists. And the most impressive thing many of you may have seen him do was, when he got the ball in a tight space, when he was marked closely, or when he was in the corner of the field, to see him, put the sole of his foot on the ball and make that ball do exactly what he wanted to do. And it didn't matter what defender was on him; there was no way they were going to get that ball. The defenders, you could just tell how frustrated they were watching this player when he was, in the corner, doing those skills. It was something to see. Again, a magician on the ball. And he's getting the Coach's Award because of how hard he worked to get the skills and how much of a team player he was. And when a player says statistics don't matter, all he wants to win is the state championship, then you know he's a team player. And that's why he's getting this award. And at the same time, as I present him with his Coach's Award, I also present him with the Season Points Winner Award. We had a competition that carried on throughout the whole season, which we played just like a small-sided scrimmage. And players were awarded points based on how they did. It was something the guys look forward to every day, and something that was very competitive, and something I take very seriously, and the guys did too. And throughout the whole year, he was the one that got the most points, and that's quite an accomplishment. So I'll present the Season Points Winner plaque and the Coach's Award plaque for 1995 to Andrew Hartman. My next award is the Most Valuable Attacker, and this goes to a first-year player for us, a guy that came from Dublin, and we were certainly lucky to have him. For the season, he had 18 goals, which was tied for 4th best ever for a season goal total. He had 6 assists this year, and he had 42 points, which is 4th best ever. He was all-region this year, he was all-state this year, and he was the most valuable player for the South All-Stars in the All-Star game, which was held this past weekend. We wanted to play him at forward some, and he did play forward some. Worked out that he worked out with the team better at center midfield, played defensive mid some, went to attacking mid, and finally had to play sweeper in the state championship game. And if you saw him play, you know how much he contributed back there. And that's not an easy thing to do, to learn a position as important as sweeper. Go back there and have to control the defense, but he played an outstanding game, which was one of the keys that they only had 11 shots on goal and only got 1 in, and that's a very difficult thing to do. First time I saw this player, I remember seeing this player, was we played a pickup game this summer, and I had the ball, and he, you could often tell he was a good player, and he came, and I had the ball, and I was trying to dribble it around him, and he came in and he slid tackled me and cracked me in the knee. And that was my first memory of it. That told me what kind of player he was. And the most impressive thing to me about this player is how much he loves the game. And you can just tell it. He brought to his team, we had this little call he does when he scores or on any good play, even when his teammates do it. And we've been missing that spirit for a couple of years, and he brought a lot of that back to us. And I can tell you, when I took him out of games, it doesn't matter what the score was, he wanted to get back in, and he was very creative on trying to get back in the game. I'd be standing at the sideline, and I'd hear this, Coach, this is God, put Jeremy back in. or he got down on his knees one game and begged for him to get back in. It was a shame he had missed a couple games due to an injury. But another story I have about him is when we got to the state championship game, and it was going to penalty kicks, and the game was up, but all of a sudden overtimes were over and we're going to penalty kicks, and I had this player I told him what the order was, and I had this player as the 5th penalty kick taker, which is very important, and he was very nervous, and he suggested that we take him out of the 5th spot and put another player that he thought was a better penalty kick taker in the 5th spot. And he was willing to sacrifice that because he thought somebody else could take it better than he did. And as it turned out, I was confident that he would make it, and he did. And he won the game with that final penalty kick, scored for us, and boy did he celebrate. That was one of the best celebrations I've ever seen. But again, that's the kind of spirit that he offers, and I'm very proud to have him as a part of Stratford soccer. 1990 Most Valuable Tackler goes to Jeremy McClure. Next is most valuable defender, and this goes to a player that left the team for a year and then came back to us, and we're certainly glad he did. And when he decided to come back, I had a lot of questions whether he would be able to, but he did, and he did with flying colors, and he did because he's such a great athlete and he's such a great competitor. For the season, he had 5 assists and 2 goals, and one of the goals in playing as a defender. That's a pretty good accomplishment, especially to have 5 assists, but one of the goals was an extremely nice goal on corner kicks. He would always go up on our set pieces, and one of them, it jumped extremely high, got the ball, and headed it down in the goal. It's an extremely nice goal. And he had 209 balls won, which means the balls won just anything that comes your way. If you put a head on it, mainly, or you tackle it real hard, that's how you get a balls won. And he had 209 of them, which is the 4th highest total ever. In my opinion, he was the best defender and certainly the best marking back in the state. And although he didn't get all region and all state, he deserved it. There was nobody better in this league. Again, as the most valuable defender, he was assigned to the other team's most potent attacker. And every time we did that, he shut him down. Against Tattle, the player didn't score in the semifinals. Against Mount Sales in the finals, the player didn't score. And in everything that came his way, he won. I even asked my sweeper about it, and my sweeper said there's no reason. I was asking him why he didn't go challenge the ball, and he said there was no reason to as long as this player was there. And he won everything that came his way. And in the championship game, he was extremely sick. He had a cold or the flu, and extremely sick, and yet he played 110 minutes, and the guy barely even touched the ball that he marked. And he kept winning balls over and over. And he also made his penalty kick, which was the 4th penalty kick. And he's never been accused of being the most skillful player we've ever had. But when if you had to choose one player, to get up there and take that penalty kick in a pressure situation, this is the player you want. And there was no question that was going in. And throughout his whole career with us, that's the kind of competitor he is, and that's the kind of player he is. And we're also very proud that he came back to us. And 1985, most valuable defender is Lindsay Leonard. I've got 2, we decided on 2 Joel Hatcher Most Valuable Player Awards. And first one goes to a player that I've had since 8th grade. And started as a center mid in 8th grade, and sometimes went to the outside mid for a year there or 2, and wound up this year and last year as one of our center midfielders. However, as the season went on, we felt like we needed a little bit more in the attack, and we put him up to forward, and he became one of the top forwards in the league. So much so that Mountain Sales changed some of their tactics and had to mark him man-to-man all over the field, which really hurt them in an attack. For the season, he had 19 goals, which is the 3rd best total ever. He had 3 assists. He had 41 points, which is the 5th best total ever. He had 238 balls won, which is the 2nd best of all time. And it was only off by 1 for time, the record, so 238 balls won. For his career, he had 48 goals, which is the 2nd best all time. 14 assists and 110 points, which is also the 2nd best all time, which speaks volumes about how well this player can score. Highlights for his season, included the ones I thought of, and he had many of them, but the ones I especially thought of were he had a hat trick against Mountain Sales in a 5-2 win, which really sort of helped us turn things around a little bit in terms we were slumping a little bit. And he had a hat trick in the semifinal against Tatnall, and 3 very nice goals. And he had the goal against Mountain Sales in the championship game, and he also made one of the penalty kicks. And during the course of the season, when there was a time when he wasn't playing too well, and he came and talked to me about it. And at that point, and again in the first Mountain Sales game, the Point County game, he really turned it around. And he was one of our co-captains, and not only did he turn it around for himself, but he turned it around for the team. And that tells you what kind of leader that he is and what kind of player he is. And he was all-region as a junior and a senior. He was a JSA All-State selection as a junior and a senior, and this year he's been Bowden Award finalist. He is a very class act, and someone that I'm very proud to have as a member of the Stratford soccer program, and also someone that I've become a good friend with. And my first, and I will also, as I present him this award, he set the record for balls won in the game with 24 against Buford Academy down at the Buford tournament. So we'll present him with that record trophy right here, as well as his plaque. The 1995 Joel Patrick Cove Most Valuable Player is Sterling Stephenson. My final award, it was the other Joel Hatcher Most Valuable Player. I don't think it's any secret who this player is, but this player has been an institution for Stratford soccer ever since I've been here, and that includes before 8th grade, before he even started playing for us. A little bit about his season. For the season, he had 52 saves. He only allowed 15 goals, and he had a 0.84 goals against average, which is the second best ever for Stratford, and he had 7.5 shutouts. For his career, he had 299 saves, a 1.07 goals against average, and 29.75 shutouts. He holds the school records for most shutouts in a season, and he's first, second, and third place in that category. And he holds the record for the school record for most shutouts in a career, again with 29.75, and he holds that by far. This year, he also made a big save on one of the Mountain Sales penalty kicks that allowed us to take advantage of the penalty kicks. An extremely big save. And he is, without a doubt, the best keeper we've ever had here. He was all-region his sophomore through senior years, and he should have been all-state this year and was deserving of that. He was Macon Telegraph All-Middle Georgia team his junior year, and he was the Ben Bowden Award winner this year, which recognizes the top player in Middle Georgia. The other qualities that come to mind with Ian are, first of all, his leadership. He was a co-captain for us, an extremely responsible guy, and someone that again, him and Sterling kind of took charge with a few of the other seniors, took charge of the team, and took charge of the season right from the outset. And when you think of Ian, you always think of spirit, and you think of heart and soul, and you think of emotion, and you think of the guy in 6th grade who state championship game here in 1990, running around with his face painted and a big flag. And that's what you think of when you think of Ian, and you think of him in 1991 traveling to Augusta with his face painted. And I will never, there isn't a day that doesn't go by that I don't hear a British accent yelling as loud as that, as loud as they can. It's just something that's always been part of Stratford soccer, to hear him in the goal or on the sidelines yelling instructions, yelling encouragement to his teammates, whether it's in the locker room, whether it's in pregame huddles. It's just the spirit that he gave to this program, and he gave very much, was truly exceptional. And the other thing I always think about is how much he cares. He cares so much about this program, and about this team, and about his teammates, that there's nothing that he hasn't done for them. You walk into his room's got all kinds of memorabilia from teammates past, or his seasons past, and it just shows you how much he cares. And I'm going to miss this player very much, as I will miss all of these players, and also someone I consider a close friend. 1995, Joel Patrick Cove Most Valuable Player, Ian Jones. much.
The soccer team would like to present an award to coach for again his 100th win against Mountain Sales in the final. And sign a ball for your team. Okay.
Again, congratulations to this state championship team. As hard as you work, you surely deserved it. We are proud of you, not only for your physical ability, but for the sportsmanship that you displayed. I never saw anyone act in a manner that I wasn't proud of. And in the long run, that's the lesson that you need to take with you, that you can be a winner whether you win or lose by the way you behave. And we're real proud that you acted like champions the entire season. With the state varsity soccer team, managers, statisticians, come back up at the end of the program and get your t-shirts that we have made for y'all that indicates that y'all are the state champions. And with that, I would like to close thanking our coaches for these, not only the varsity sports, but for the B team, for working our kids hard, but letting them have fun at the same time. And for just making the kids feel like you're their friends and not only their coach. And there's no way we can express our gratitude for having fine people act as such wonderful role models for our kids. And I just want the adults and the kids, if you want, to give our coaches a hand. Without further ado, y'all come get your t-shirts, and if y'all want to RSVP to Martha in the lobby now, that will save you a phone call. Thank you.
Thanks, man.